it's Hailey, and today I'm going to be sharing my July TBR. So this is like the first formal video, formal in quotation marks, that I'm filming in my new office. I know things look exactly the same, like you literally cannot tell that I'm in a different space because I have my rainbow bookshelves, but I am in a different space. I'm 10 hours away from where I usually am. So it's very hot in here, for one, because I can't have the air conditioning on while I'm filming because then it is just super loud and you can't hear anything. And two, my one umbrella light did not survive the move, so I'm waiting on a new light bulb, so we only have one light, so I apologize for that. And the third thing is that there's definitely going to be an echo. I have a carpet here, but there is still an echo, like I can hear it, and I can't really do much about that right now because we're in an apartment right now and it's just a temporary space, so I don't want to like pay a bunch of money to make it work and make there be no echo. So we're just gonna have to deal with it for the next like month or two, hopefully not that long, but I'm doing the best I can. So getting to the books that I want to read in July, I went on like a major reading streak in the beginning, well, pretty much all the way through May. I actually read quite a bit, and then June, it kind of ended up like beginning of June, I was good, but I haven't really read that much in the latter half of June because of the move. So I feel like really out of touch with reading right now, and for that reason, I don't exactly know what I want to read, but I went and looked at my shelves, saw what I was excited about, and have a good pile here that I feel like I have a pretty good chance of reading. I'm just gonna be kind of going with my mood as I usually do, probably leaning towards some contemporaries, but a little bit of everything in there. Like, I feel really aloof. I feel like I don't have a routine right now, and I want to get back to a routine and get back to reading. And now I've had my shelves set up for like a couple days now, and that is definitely helping me feel like more grounded, I guess. But I have nothing else really to say, so let's just get into the books that I am hoping to read in July. So the first book here is actually a more recent release, and that is A Chorus Rises by Bethany C. Morrow. So this is the next book. It's not like a sequel, but it's the next book in the A Song Below Water universe. So it has like sirens, so mermaids, and all of that stuff. And I read the first one last year in the summertime, and I felt like it was a really good summertime urban fantasy because it has like not so much tropical vibes, but kind of a little bit, just because it is dealing with mermaids. So it felt like a really good time to read it, and it was definitely a really cool and quick read. So I'm thinking that this one has a really good chance of being read this month. This one follows the influencer, the social media influencer that is introduced in the first book. She ends up revealing that she's a siren, and there's a lot of prejudice against sirens, so it sparks this whole thing, like there's a whole trial and everything, and that happens in the first book, and now you are getting to follow her as a main character, which I'm super excited about because I was really intrigued by her and her story in the first book, so I can't wait to learn a little bit more about her and see her perspective on things. Next is This Poisoned Heart by Kalynn Bayron. So this is by the author of Cinderella is Dead, which once again I read last year and really liked, and this time this is, I believe someone was saying it was a Secret Garden retelling, so I don't know how accurate that is, but either way, I'm still really looking forward to this one because I loved her writing and loved the way that she like twisted the typical Cinderella tale. So I'm expecting a little bit more of that in here. But this follows a character who she has the ability to like grow plants out of nothing, and she ends up going to her aunt's estate with her family for the summer to try and kind of cultivate that gift that she has. But it ends up there's like a bunch of people coming to the estate because her aunt used to help them out, and she is trying to discover like what her aunt actually did. There's kind of a lot of questions there, but it seems like a really interesting and spring summer fantasy. I just want to read like all the summer books right now, so that's kind of what I've been gravitating towards, is anything that makes me think of summer, and the whole growing thing makes me think of summer for sure. Next up is The Unlikelies by Carrie Firestone. So with it being summer, I definitely gravitate towards contemporaries, and I have a fair share of those here. This one I've had for quite a while now. I've read another book by this author, The Loose Ends List, which was very different, but this is one that also is kind of different. So it follows this group of good Samaritans. The main character ends up saving someone and ends up being like really revered for this, and she ends up teaming up with this group of good Samaritans like her who just go around and do good things. So I'm not really sure what to make of that plot, but I did have a good time reading her first book, and since it seems so different, it really intrigued me. And the fact that it takes place over the summer, like the popsicles on it, doesn't this just make you think of summer? Because it definitely makes me think of it. Next up is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. This is the latest by the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and it came out recently, and I just haven't gotten the chance to read it yet, but it's for sure one that I want to try and prioritize. So this is set in New York, and it follows a girl who discovers that her subway crush is actually like stuck there, time traveling from the 1970s. So I don't really know what to make of that, to be honest, but it seems really interesting and different, and I love the fact that Casey McQuiston is writing now a female-female romance, and I just love Red, White, and Royal Blue. Her writing was so addictive and amazing, so that's probably what's going to happen here, and I hope I like it, and I hope I can squeeze it in. Next is Last Chance Books by Kelsey Rodkey. So this book I pre-ordered because, I mean, the cover is beautiful, but also it's an enemies to lovers romance set in rival bookshops, so that sounds really great. I'm not the biggest fan of enemies to lovers, as you guys might know, but the fact that it's rival bookshops makes me think that I might like it. I do sometimes like it. There are some books that feature the enemies to lovers trope that I do really enjoy, so it's not always a miss for me, and I'm hoping that this will be one that I will like. It seems like it could be really good. So it's like that classic, like there's the big bookshop and then there's this small indie store. Well, no, there's the small indie store first, and then a big like chain bookstore opens down the road, and we have a rivalry that ensues, but obviously it turns to romance, which sounds great. Next up is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to King of Scars, and it came out, it's probably been a couple of months now. It's been a really long time actually, and I just have been waiting to read it for when I have like the time to dedicate to it and the energy to dedicate to a big book like this. But I love Leigh Bardugo. She is probably my favorite author, and I also love Nicola. I can never remember how to say it, and I swear I say it differently every time, but it's fine. We're just going to ignore that. But if you guys aren't familiar with this, this is the duology. I think it's a duology that focuses on him. And the first book ended on a really interesting note. There were a lot of different risks taken, so I'm really eager to see what is going to happen in this one, and as soon as I feel like I have the time and energy for this, I'm going to read it. Next up is My Contrary Mary by the Lady Janies. So this is the first book in the new Mary series that the Lady Janies are doing. So if you guys don't know, and I feel like a lot of these books are like sequels and authors I've read before, I don't know why, I guess that's just kind of what I'm going for, like unintentionally, but this is the first book in the Mary series, like I said, and they write these like satirical stories. Like they had 3 books following different Janes. So there was Lady Jane Grey, which this one is set in the same universe as that one, and then there was Jane Eyre and Calamity Jane. And My Lady Jane was my favorite, so I'm really excited to have another story set in that era. So we're following Mary, Queen of Scots, and they're really like stories that you know, or characters that you're familiar with, but with this bizarre twist that shouldn't work, which makes it like kind of satirical. In My Lady Jane, the character like can turn into a horse, and in this one I believe Mary, Queen of Scots turns into a mouse. Yes, so she's a shapeshifter and can turn into a mouse. I can't wait to be back in this world, to be back in the Tudor era as well. I felt like they did a really good job with that, and I'm so excited for this one. Next up is Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian. So I'm really excited for this book because I have been saving it for the summertime, because it is following this ice cream stand that like the girls of this town will work at every summer, and I don't know what sounds more summery than that, which like it's literally pouring rain and so dreary outside right now, but I'm just just looking for all the summer vibes apparently, and I think this book is definitely going to give that to me. So the main character, she's working at this ice cream stand, but as it's been passed down through generations, the owner who has owned it has just recently died, and she sends her grandnephew, well no, I guess she wouldn't send because she passed away, but her grandnephew ends up coming to try and help out, and I'm sensing a little bit of a romance there. Next up is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. So this is the author of Tweet Cute, which I read last year, and I liked it, but I felt like what I really fell in love with was the author's writing. It was a lot of fun, easy to read, witty, like snappy. I just enjoyed it. So that made me want to read more of her stuff. And You Have a Match, I'm not really sure what to make of the plot line, because I know it's like she takes a DNA test and then she finds out she has a sister, and she takes the DNA test to impress a boy, and I'm not sure how that works, but I'm sure it will make sense when I read it, but I don't know how that's going to work. But she ends up finding out she has a sister, and she goes to this summer camp and meets her sister for the first time. So I felt like summer camp, you know, perfect for this time of year, and I think something like cute and fun and fluffy is what I'm going to get with this, and I just want to read more of her writing. Next up is Instructions for Dancing by Nicola Yoon. So Nicola Yoon is the author of The Sun Is Also a Star and Everything Everything. I love The Sun Is Also a Star, so when I saw she was coming out with another book, I was so excited, and I am so happy to have it now. It deals with ballroom dancing, and it also kind of has a little bit of a magical twist to it. I don't know what it is with all the books that I'm talking about today, but a lot of them have a little bit of a twist to them, which is interesting. So in this one, she like sees a couple and she'll see how happy they are, but then she sees when they break up when she looks at them. So obviously that makes it kind of hard for her to believe in love and believe in romance when she's seeing how all these seemingly great relationships are going to end terribly. So obviously she's going to get her own love story at ballroom dancing. Like, I think this is going to be really cool, and this cover is just to die for. And the next book that I have here is The Library of Lost Things by Laura Taylor Namey. So Laura Taylor Namey is the author of A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. I believe that's the one that I've read by her. Where is it? Okay, yes it is. So this is another one of her books. This one came out before the other one, but I picked it up fairly recently, and I have been saving it for July because I've been doing the buzzword challenge, which was created by Books and Lala, and I didn't intend to start it, but then I saw like a graphic for it and I realized it was in like February that I had already completed the first 2 challenges, so I decided to just continue with it and try and hit all of the prompts. So the prompt rather for July is a book with the word lost in it, and this is actually the only one that I haven't read, which I thought was interesting because I feel like Lost is something that I've seen a lot. Also, I feel like I've kind of like bent the rules for it a little bit, because there was one where I forget what it was. It was like House and Home or something, I don't know. And I was like I slightly had it, so I just gave it to me. But what else is new? That's always how I do things. But this is a book that I believe it's also set in a bookstore actually. So I don't know if I will read 2 bookstore books at the same time. Maybe it's actually set in the library. I don't know. I just kind of picked this up because I really enjoyed A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow and wanted to read some more of her stuff, and this one seemed like a great place to go. I don't know if she only has the 2 books or if she has more, but this is one that I can definitely see myself getting to in July. So I think those are all the books that I wanted to talk about today. I feel like that was a little bit shorter than my usual TBRs, but I really have no clue what mood I'm going to be in the next month. So that's why I'm kind of just like taking it easy and giving myself just a few books to talk about. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button and also click the notification bell so you will be notified whenever I post new videos. I post new videos 2 to 3 times a week. But I hope that you guys liked this video, which I already said. I am so out of season from filming. I am sorry. But if you have read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them, and I will see you guys in a new video soon. Bye!